The outer nebula looked quiet, too quiet for a place that had been sending out frantic, coded signals for the past 6 nights. Floating just beyond its shimmering edge was Station Lumen 7, a lone research outpost built to study cosmic sound waves. Its glass corridors glowed with soft blue lights that pulsed like a heartbeat, echoing through the silence. For days, the station had broadcast a repeating message, soft, trembling, almost like a cry. No words, just a pattern, a plea. A human explorer, known simply as the Navigator, arrived to investigate. Their ship drifted toward the main docking bay, engines humming like a distant lullaby. As the hatch opened, a gentle rush of filtered air swept through, carrying the faint scent of ionized mist. Inside, the station was calm. Yet something was off. Lights flickered, data tablets lay open, monitors displayed waveforms that looped endlessly, spirals within spirals, and in the center of the main hall stood a small alien, child glowing faintly, like a being woven from starlight. Her eyes shimmered with galaxies, her shape soft and translucent. She looked frightened but unharmed. The Navigator knelt calmly, lowering their voice. "Are you the one calling for help?" The alien child pressed tiny hands to her chest. A soft chime vibrated the air, a sound more emotional than spoken. The Navigator felt it rather than heard it. A projection flickered on a nearby wall. A map of the station, a room marked core chamber, and a symbol. Gently pulsating like a heartbeat, the child stepped closer. The floor beneath her feet lit up in soft concentric rings, following her movements like ripples on a calm lake. But then a sound drifted through the corridor, not threatening, but curious, almost like distant footsteps. Made of light, soft shapes emerged from the far hallway, creatures composed entirely of luminous particles, drifting rather than walking, their forms bent and reformed like clouds catching starlight. They weren't hostile, merely investigating the disturbance that had awoken them. Still, the child recoiled. The Navigator instinctively stepped in front of her, not with aggression, but with peaceful confidence, raising their hands to signal calm. "Easy. We're not here to harm anyone." The glowing creatures paused, their bodies shimmering in thoughtful waves. They seemed to communicate through color: gold for curiosity, silver for caution, pale blue for peace. The Navigator matched the pale blue tone on their wrist. "Communicator." The creatures responded instantly. Shifting to the same hue, the corridor relaxed around them. The Navigator gently guided the child toward the core chamber, the place marked on the station map. As the doors slid open, a warm hum filled the air. Inside sat the signal heart, the device responsible for decoding interstellar messages. It flickered rapidly, projecting a hologram, a larger alien figure, radiant, elegant, maternal, sending out a gentle pulse. The child reached out with trembling hands. The heart responded, releasing a stream of soft, warm light that flowed into her palms like water. Her glow brightened. Her breathing steadied. A message unfolded in the air. Her mother had sent the signal. The creatures had come to guide her home. The station wasn't a prison. It was a beacon. The Navigator stepped back. Understanding, the creatures surrounded the child, not closing in to harm her, but to escort her. Their forms shifted to bright gold, the color of joy. With one final chime of gratitude, the child turned to the Navigator. The corridor filled with soft light as they all drifted toward the airlock. A portal opened, gentle, swirling like a curtain made of stars. The child paused, looking back with eyes full of galaxies. Then she stepped through. The portal dissolved into shimmering dust, leaving the station peaceful and silent once again. As the Navigator prepared to leave, the signal heart pulsed one last time, slow, steady, grateful, and Lumen 7, once again, slept within the safety of the nebula. Silence flowed through Station Lumen 7 like a slow-moving tide. Moments earlier, the portal had sealed shut softly, gently, leaving behind only a faint glitter suspended in the air. The Navigator remained still, listening to the distant hum of the generators settling back into their natural rhythm. But the quiet wasn't empty. It felt expectant, like the station itself was waiting. A soft flicker crossed the floor panels. One light, then another. A trail formed, a guiding path leading back toward the core chamber. The navigator exhaled. The message isn't over. They followed the illuminated path through the arched corridors. The walls glowed faintly, reflecting soft blue waves as if the station was breathing. When the doors to the core chamber slid open, the signal heart awaited in the center. Pulsing weakly but steadily, its light was different now, not distressed, but incomplete. The navigator approached and touched the console. The heart projected a quiet hologram, an echo of the alien child's mother. Calm, radiant, her form drifting like moonlight, shaped into a person. No words. Just an emotion gently carried through the projection. You restored the child, but our connection is still fractured. The navigator leaned in. Show me how to finish it. The hologram shifted, displaying a memory sequence, the child floating inside a sphere of golden mist, creatures orbiting her in peaceful spirals, their energy braided together into a luminous pattern, 3 rings glowing as one. But the outer ring flickered. Broken. Incomplete. The mother's image faded, replaced by a vision of the station itself, not as it stood now, but as it had been days earlier. The image showed a small chamber on the far side of the station emitting a faint signal. The waveforms were weak, but unmistakably part of the same frequency the child used. A missing piece, the navigator whispered. The completion fragment. The heart responded with a soft chime, confirming. The search for the final signal. The navigator set off through the station's quiet halls. Panels glowed as they walked, gently illuminating their path like a soft starlit walkway. Every so often they heard faint echoes like small bells ringing in distant rooms. Not alarming, just curious, almost playful. When the navigator reached the forgotten chamber, the door slid open with a tired sigh. Inside, dust floated like slow-motion snowflakes. At the center sat an unused auxiliary console, dark, dormant, but humming faintly as if it sensed the navigator's presence. They wiped the dust from the surface. The console recognized the touch instantly. A small compartment opened. Inside was a silver crystalline sphere, about the size of a marble. It pulsed softly, slow, timid, as if unsure of its own purpose. The navigator lifted it gently. The sphere responded, glowing brighter, aligning its frequency with the navigator's steady heartbeat. This must be the missing ring. Return to the COR back in the core chamber. The navigator placed the sphere into the central cradle of the signal heart. The reaction was immediate. The chamber brightened. Panels along the walls reactivated. The heart's energy spiraled upward, projecting a complete tri-ring pattern. The full signal restored at last. Then soft footsteps, not loud, not threatening, just a shimmering presence entering the room. The navigator turned. The portal had reopened. This time, the light wasn't sharp or swirling. It drifted in slow waves, like curtains moving with a gentle breeze. From it stepped the alien child. Her glow was softer now, stabilized, calm, as if the missing signal fragment had strengthened her connection to her world. She looked at the navigator with warm, shimmering eyes full of recognition. She raised her tiny hands, and the golden particle creatures floated beside her like gentle lanterns in the dark. They arranged themselves in the air, forming patterns, spirals, symbols. One symbol glowed the brightest, a complete tri-ring. The navigator watched quietly. You can go home now. The child stepped closer, placing one small, glowing hand on the navigator's palm. A gentle warmth spread outward, peaceful, grounding, soothing like sunlight through morning clouds. Then she pointed to the signal heart. To the newly completed waveform. To the navigator. In that moment, the navigator understood the message. The station had not just been a beacon for the child. It had been a test of connection between worlds, species, and intentions. And the navigator had passed that test with calm, compassion, and trust. The child turned back toward the portal. The golden creatures formed a gentle escort around her, swirling like living constellations. Before stepping through, she looked over her shoulder. A single, quiet chime filled the air, soft enough to almost be a whisper. The portal enclosed her in a blanket of shimmering light, and then dissolved peacefully. The last TRNSMISSIO, and when silence returned, The signal heart pulsed one final time. A small hologram appeared, not a message of distress, but a map of brilliant constellations connected by shimmering lines. A new route, a shared route, a bridge between species. The navigator smiled softly. I get it. You're not alone anymore. They returned to their ship. Engines hummed gently as the vessel lifted from the docking bay. Through the viewport, Station Lumen 7 looked renewed, its panels glowing faintly, its systems humming peacefully through the nebula's quiet embrace. The navigator watched it fade into the cosmic mist. They had come searching for a broken signal, but left having restored far more than communication. They had restored connection. A connection between a frightened child made of starlight, a patient mother waiting in distant space, and a brave human who, by stepping forward in calm protection, became the link between two worlds. And somewhere deep in the nebula, a faint chime echoed back, warm, grateful, whole. The nebula drifted like a slow ocean of color as the navigator's ship glided away from Station Lumen 7. Yet, even as the distance grew, something tugged at the navigator's thoughts, a gentle pull, like a whisper carried across starlight. The mission had ended. The child was safe. The signal was repaired. But the feeling remained. The story wasn't finished. Not yet. Moments later, the ship's sensors chimed. A soft, rhythmic pulse blinked on the display, familiar, delicate, unmistakable. It was the same frequency the child used to communicate, yet this signal wasn't coming from the station. It was coming from somewhere deeper in the nebula, beyond the swirling clouds of violet and silver that stretched like curtains of cosmic mist. The navigator leaned forward, adjusting the controls. Another signal? But the heart completed its transmission. The pulse repeated, a little stronger, now curious, warm, almost hopeful. The navigator hesitated only for a moment before setting a new course. The engines glowed softly, guiding the ship into a region the maps labeled only as the nebular veil. Few traveled here. The particles in the mist confused scanners, and the ever-shifting colors made it feel like flying through a dream that kept rewriting itself. The deeper the navigator went, the dimmer the cockpit lights seemed, not from failure but from contrast. The nebula's glow was so bright and soft that it outshone the ship's systems. Waves of luminous dust drifted past the viewport in delicate spirals, as if responding to the ship's movements. The pulse on the display grew steadier, guiding the navigator through layers of starlit fog. After several minutes, the haze parted. A vast structure hovered ahead. It wasn't mechanical. It wasn't biological. It was something in between, like a cluster of enormous petals woven from shimmering light, gently drifting in space. They folded and unfolded slowly, releasing trails of sparkling particles that drifted outward like drifting pollen. The navigator whispered, "So that's where the signal is coming from." The pulse on the screen synchronized with the movement of the petals. Every time they expanded, a wave of soft energy rippled outward. It was peaceful, beautiful, almost musical. The ship slowed. The navigator approached carefully, scanning the structure. The readings were gentle, no threat, no harmful energy. Just an intricate, harmonic field that resonated like a lullaby. A new pulse appeared, not from the flower-like construct, but from within it. The navigator's breath caught. In the center of the drifting petals floated a small, spherical chamber of pale gold light. Inside it, suspended in soft energy currents, was an orb identical to the signal seed that had completed the heart. Back on the station, only this one glowed with far greater intensity. This was no damaged fragment. This was the source. And something else was inside the chamber with it. A figure, not the child, not the mother, but an adult being of the same species, their form elegant and flowing like woven moonlight. Their glow was dimmer than it should have been, flickering gently as if they had been waiting a very long time. The navigator felt their presence before truly seeing them, the soft, patient hum of a message never fully delivered. The petals opened wider, inviting the ship closer. Trusting instinct, the navigator donned their exploration suit and stepped into the airlock. The door slid open to reveal a platform of floating light forming beneath their feet. It carried them toward the central chamber as if the structure itself recognized the navigator's intent. As they approached, the adult figure raised their head. Their glow brightened slightly, stabilizing. A warm vibration filled the chamber, a greeting, gentle and grateful. The navigator spoke softly. "Are you the one who sent the second signal?" The being responded with a harmonic wave of energy that painted the air with faint, shimmering patterns. The navigator understood, not through language, but through the emotional clarity carried in the sound. The being was a guardian, one who had remained behind. When the others traveled far beyond the nebula, one who had been connected to the child and had felt her fear when the station malfunctioned. Their signal had reached Lumen 7 in fragmented form. Calling for anyone who could help restore their link, the navigator bowed their head slightly. "She's safe." She found her way home. The Guardian's glow brightened in pure relief, the chamber filling with a soft golden wave that felt like warmth spreading through quiet morning air. Yet underneath the relief, another emotion pulsed gently, longing. A projection unfolded. The navigator saw visions of vast, shimmering worlds linked by trails of starlight, an entire network of gentle beings, traveling across the galaxy through portals made from harmonic energy. The child's kind had once used the nebulous structures as temporary safe harbors during these journeys, but the malfunction at Lumen 7 disrupted those pathways. Leaving the Guardians stranded. Another vision followed, the child drifting alone in the station, frightened but resilient. The creatures of light approaching her, not as hunters but helpers. The navigator stepping before her, creating a bridge of trust at the exact moment it was needed. The final vision showed the completed tri-ring signal, flowing outward like ripples on water. The connection was restored, but the Guardian was still unable to travel. Their energy had weakened from long isolation, and without direct access to the tri-ring source, they couldn't reopen the portal needed to join their people. The navigator understood. "You need help finishing the link." The Guardian nodded, their glow fluctuating softly. The navigator touched the metallic band on their wrist, the same communicator they'd used to mirror the creatures. Peaceful light back on Lumen 7. It had kept the child calm. It had signaled trust. It carried the echo of the tri-ring frequency. Slowly, the navigator removed the band and laid it on the platform. It flickered, sensing the chamber's harmonic field. Golden ripples spread outward from it, merging with the Guardian's gentle glow. At first nothing happened. Then the seed at the center of the chamber brightened, pulsing in perfect rhythm with the device's frequency. The petals outside shifted, their colors flowing in slow, radiant waves like a sunrise. Blooming in deep space, the chamber vibrated softly. The signal seed rose into the air. The tri-ring symbol formed around it in light complete. Steady, whole, the Guardian lifted their hands, guiding the energy with delicate precision. The rings expanded, forming a circular gateway of shimmering mist. The structure's petals aligned, creating a gentle corridor of rippling light. The portal opened, not violently, not suddenly, just peacefully, like a door swinging open into warm sunlight. The Guardian turned to the navigator, sending one final wave of soft emotion. Gratitude. Farewell. Harmony. They drifted into the portal, their glow stabilizing, brightening, becoming whole again. The moment they passed through, the portal pulsed one final time, releasing a soft chime into the chamber. The petals folded inward, returning to a dormant state. The chamber dimmed, settling back into tranquil stillness. The navigator retrieved the wristband. Though unchanged in shape, it now carried a faint golden shimmer, an echo of the harmonic link. On the flight back through the nebula, the navigator looked out at the soft, drifting lights. The mission had begun with a broken signal and a frightened child. It had ended with a bridge restored across the stars. Back aboard the ship, a final transmission appeared on the console. Not a distress call, not a request, a simple harmonic signature, gentle, hopeful, familiar. The child's voice, a soft chime played, delicate as a whisper. A message of peace, of reunion, of connection renewed. The navigator smiled. "You made it home?" The transmission faded, leaving the ship filled with quiet warmth. The nebulous colors wrapped the vessel in soft radiance as the navigator set a course toward open space. The mission was complete. The link between worlds had been restored, and somewhere, far beyond the nebula's edge, a child of starlight shone, a little brighter because a human had stepped forward when it mattered most. The navigator took a slow breath, watching the luminous clouds drift behind them, and whispered one final thought into the calm, "Good journey."